So, when we talk about what it looks like to be regulated as a leader, as a mother, as a wife, whatever role that you're occupying, it first starts with clarity on what is most important to you, clarity on the things that you value in your life, and that you can lead everything from that standpoint. Welcome to the Finally Healed podcast, where we prioritize mental health, self-care, and embracing our healing journey together. This is a special episode because this is our last episode of season 2. This has been such an incredible experience. I've been able to highlight a lot of amazing guests, and I'm just so grateful that you have been tuned in, that you've been locked in, that you've been sharing the podcast. It truly means the world to me because I am so committed to helping women on their healing journey. And I believe this season has really been about awareness about what's going on in your body, about awareness on what's going on with your mind, awareness about some of the things that you need to release. And so I wanted to make sure as we were ending the season that we were talking about regulating your nervous system and how that is affecting your health, your overall health. And so as successful women that are called to do so many things, there truly is a hidden cost to success. See, a lot of us, I can speak for myself. I remember when I worked on TV and I was working 60 hours a week, getting paid for 40, sitting on the board for all these organizations, and I was giving everything to everyone else, and I was left on empty. So I'll never forget when I was in my luxury penthouse apartment and I made a commitment to myself that I wasn't going to put everyone else's needs before mine. Now, that sounded good at the time, but to be honest, that's something I have to actually walk through on purpose. And when I realized that there were some strategies, that there were some tips, there were different things that I could do on a daily basis to help me regulate my nervous system. And all that really means is doing the things in your life that are going to make you feel safe, that are going to make you feel protected, that are going to bring you back to the person that you are destined to become. So when I think about some of the hidden costs to success is staying up late at night and trying to be the first person in and the last person to leave, doing the most for everyone else. That wears on your body, it wears on your mind, it wears on your emotions. And so there are these costs to success. Now, I'm not going to lie. In certain seasons, it does take all of that. As an entrepreneur myself, I've been an entrepreneur since I was 14 years old. So I am not afraid of hard work. But what I've realized in this mature season of my life, I am not putting success before my health. I am focusing on strategies that help with stress management because I honestly want to enjoy the fruits of my labor, but that's not going to happen if you stay in survival mode. So when success is built in survival mode, there are signs of dysregulation. The first one is being lack of sleep. I know I cannot be the only one that kind of struggles with insomnia, that I know I am up much later than I should be, and I don't prioritize the amount of rest that I should have. That's one of the first one. Overreacting in situations. If you find yourself easily, your emotions are fluctuating, they feel like they're all over the place, that can also be a sign of dysregulation. And lastly, communication challenges. If you're starting to get a little bit heated, a little bit frustrated, starting to change who your character is based on the lack of sleep and the lack of emotional regulation, that can affect everyone around you. And to be honest, because people love you, they're probably not saying anything. And so I'm saying this to you. If you're listening to this and you're like, man, I probably got some of these things, then you deserve to regulate your nervous system. And I'm going to show you how. So, when we talk about what it looks like to be regulated as a leader, as a mother, as a wife, whatever role that you're occupying, it first starts with clarity on what is most important to you, clarity on the things that you value in your life, and that you can lead everything from that standpoint. Next is safety. I realize when you're in intense situations and you don't feel safe, you start to operate in a completely different way. And once you feel safe, then you can truly be the person that you were destined to be. And lastly is communication. It's so important that you communicate effectively, whether that means you might need a break, you might need to actually use a mental health day. But when you suppress your feelings and you act like situations aren't really a big deal, I realize that those type of things are going to come out when you least expected. So, communicating effectively with the people around you is not only going to help you, but it's going to help the entire environment. So, let's talk about how you can actually apply this to your life. I think it starts with micro pauses, being intentional. If you can be honest, when you're dealing with some stress, sometimes trauma in your life, there is evidence of it happening. And so you might not be able to, rest for a long period of time. But even if you take 5 or 10 minutes throughout the day to regulate your breathing techniques can be really helpful. Having moments of being present, having moments to focus on gratitude, on the things that you do have in your life is going to help you throughout the entire day to keep going, to have these little bursts of energy that's going to be really helpful. Next is body awareness, something that I try to do on a daily basis at the top of the day, lunchtime, before I go to bed, is really do a body scan from the top of my head, so soles of my feet, to figure out is there any part of my body that is experiencing pain, especially pain that I feel like can be derived from stress. I'm one of those type of people that gets, when I'm stressed out, my shoulders is like a little tightness. Some people get headaches, some people have pain in their knees and in their joints. And so I really want you to really take an inventory of this and start documenting it. Like actually have a journal that is called body awareness. And when you're having those conversations with your doctor, you're able to actually bring information in so that when you do get your labs, things might be exposed to what is actually happening. Stress in the body shows up in so many different ways than we expect. And so just being aware of your triggers before and after stressful situations can help you tremendously. And last, I want you to reframe rest. I know sometimes when I say rest, people are like, I don't have time to rest, but I realize that rest is one of the most important strategies to regulating your nervous system. I recently started going to this wellness center in Atlanta called Rest Fuel. And when I tell you, it changed my perception on rest. I think sometimes when people hear the word rest, they just think about sleep, and that's just one component of it. They have this revolutionary technology where they actually have this bed that is in a curved state, and they make it a fully immersive experience. They've had headphones on and you're listening to the rainforest. There's actually 100 different audios that you can listen to based on the type of rest that you want to experience. They put an eye mask on you with lavender, and then the actual bed vibrates as well. And so every time I go there, I feel so much lighter. Not lighter in terms of weight, but lighter in terms of the weight of responsibility. And so now I have started incorporating that when I have big events coming up, when I feel like I've been in a stressful experience. I'm intentional about that. I'm also intentional about going to the sauna and just kind of shedding that maybe even stress that's in my body that I might not have felt. And so doing these things on purpose has allowed me to rest, has allowed me to kind of bring my shoulders down, to physically tell my body we're okay and we're safe. And really, the power of affirmations can change your life. That's something that I tell myself when I am in challenging situations. I physically say, hey, Jessica, you are safe, you are okay, and you are loved. There's so much power in our words. But if you say, I'm stressed out, I'm anxious, things are crazy, you're actually attracting more of that into your life. But you physically telling your body that we're okay, your body will feel safe enough to respond properly. So now we come to my favorite segment, the healing moment, where I give you a little bit of homework that will help you on your healing journey. I want you to identify at least one thing that would help you to have sustainable success. Is that regulating your nervous system? Is that delegating? Is that including some of these micro habits? Is that doing more research on what rest actually means? And I want you not just to do the action, but I want you to DM me on Instagram at Finally Healed Pod so I can know that you are doing the work. Well, I am so grateful for you tuning in to this season of the Finally Healed podcast with Jessica Lundy. If you have missed an episode, you better go back and check them out because all of the episodes are very valuable. Also, earlier I mentioned the place that I enjoy called Rest Fuel. We'll be putting all of the details for that in the show notes so that you can rest as well. And I already talked to them. They even have a special code for you so that you can get a discount your first time that you go there. But this has been another episode of the Finally Healed podcast with Jessica Lundy. Make sure you share this with someone that really needs it. Like and comment and leave us a 5-star review. Remember, you got this.